You know, we began this series a year ago this month. For the last year, I've been honored to share the good stuff. Now on Wednesday nights, you're guaranteed to hear about the good going on in our viewing area, like tonight. The good stuff that comes from the worst of times. From a young teen named Jamie, who has an amazing heart, even if it is attached to wires and batteries. School is out and the sun is barely up, but there's no sleeping in for this dedicated group of high schoolers.
I want to earn it. I don't want it just to be handed to me.
Incoming Benton High School freshman Jamie Willis did just that. She earned one of roughly 24 spots on the Benton High School girls soccer team.
I was pretty happy about that. I'm not going to lie.
And so are the ones who know her best. Dad.
I knew she had something special.
Mom.
I'm so proud of her.
Her past coaches.
And in track in 7th and 8th grade, she could do 4 events. She could do everything.
Her doctor.
She's been exceptional. She's never really missed a beat.
Yes, her doctor.
Pun intended? No pun intended.
Who knows Jamie actually missed a lot of beats in her first 13 years on this earth.
9 years ago, when you're going through all this, did you ever think you'd find yourself sitting in bleachers watching her sprinting past you on the track?
Never. In fact, I remember thinking, this is the end.
Janelle Willis remembers Jamie's early years as difficult, painful, and confusing.
She was 5 going on 6 years old, and she had been dealing with problems with fatigue and allergies and frequent respiratory infections since birth.
I just kept thinking to myself, this has to be bigger than an allergen.
With Jamie struggling more and more, Mom admittingly became dogged in her pursuit for answers.
At the time, I was so beat down.
An answer she finally got at the end of one of Dr. Galen Sanders' faithful walks down his office hall, walks he's made for 40 years now. Dr. Sanders detected a heart murmur.
Her heart wasn't beating fast enough to pump the blood efficiently, so her chamber was filling with more blood and the heart was working harder to pump that blood out.
I was kind of relieved, even though horrified.
Jamie was eventually diagnosed with complete congenital heart block. Now, the best way to explain this for us non-medical experts, it's a complete interruption of all electrical communication between the top 2 chambers of her heart and the bottom 2 chambers. It's the way the heart pumps in and out the blood. So for the first 5 years of Jamie's young life, undetected, each half was pumping to a beat of its own.
Over time, it would have gotten worse. She would have become more fatigued and her heart rate would have dropped significantly and she would have possibly gone into heart failure.
A pacemaker was implanted. The beats still weren't perfectly synchronized, but the blood was pumping and Jamie's young heart was given new life. And contrary to what you might think, so was Jamie's love of sports.
I steadily started doing more sports and I worked out a lot.
Will she drop dead in the field? Like, I need to know.
Jamie's parents were assured she wouldn't, and her request to keep playing kept adding up.
You'll never see her use it as an excuse.
By middle school, that list got longer.
She's very competitive. She did very well in cross country in 6th grade. She's passing everybody up.
And by 7th and 8th grade, Jamie discovered 2 new loves, jumping hurdles and the long jump. Winning back-to-back district titles in both didn't surprise coaches. Coaches who were surprised to later learn Jamie was far outpacing the competition despite living with the help of a device designed to help pace the beats of her heart.
I was wowed. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. Somebody that had a pacemaker was running and doing everything that she was doing.
A lot of my coaches don't know just because I don't feel like telling them, and as long as I'm good at hurdles and long jump, they don't really need to know.
Then last May, it was back to the specialist and surgeons. It was time for Jamie's heart to get a brand new beat, an adult pacemaker.
May of 2018 is the first time Jamie Lynn Willis's heart beat correctly in her whole life.
The surgery was successful, and not 6 weeks later, the teen with more heart, figuratively and physically, than most kids her age, was back out on the track, competing in the long jump at the U.S. Junior Olympics, and back on the soccer field, taking hits that would send most mothers into cardiac arrest themselves.
Jamie Lynn is only 14, and every time that pacemaker is shocking her heart, it creates damage in her heart, shortening her lifespan.
So Janelle says she's not about to shorten her daughter's quality of life, after Jamie was given new life with a brand new beat for her heart.
I went in there defeated, beat down, exhausted, terrified, and I left being heard. I don't care if it's jumping out of a plane. If that kid wants to ride dirt bikes or jump over hurdles and smoke every kid that comes out of this track, that is okay with me.
Now, one drawback, Jamie can't go through metal detectors at airports, hold a cell phone up to her left ear, or walk through electric doors at the grocery store without that pacemaker wigging out a little bit. However, it doesn't stop her from playing video games. Not sure how that works. And every 6 to 10 years, it is back to the surgeons to have the batteries replaced. Now, just yesterday, she visited doctors at Little Rock's Children's Hospital. They went over all of her pacemaker's digital information. It can literally print a readout of how the heart performed on certain days, like when she's running track or playing in a soccer match. Docs say she's doing A-OK.